Are you ready to be scared to death? You joined us for Scary Larry's House of Universal Horrors. Now prepare yourself for Scary Larry's Pint of Horrors. And don't forget, as always, these guys swear like fucking sailors.
Fuck yeah, we do.
Oh my god. Holy shit. There's no leg there. Doesn't appear to be.
Well, you know, it's not Pint of Comics this week. It's Scary Larry's Pint of Horrors. Every time I say that, it sounds like horrors, but it's supposed to be horrors. Horrors. You ever watch It's Always Sunny? Frank always calls them whores. Whores.
That's right.
So this is episode 3 of season 2 of Scary Larry's Pint of Horrors, and we put out, now Larry, I'm going to ask you, of course, I'm John.
I'm Lloyd.
And we got Larry with us, and we got a special guest with us. We'll get to the special guest in a second. First, we got to ask Larry, because he always kind of forgets this part.
I didn't this time.
You didn't this time. What were the 3 movies that we gave out, we rolled, and then gave out as the vote for last time?
So the first one was Tusk, 2014's Kevin Smith film. Then there was Splinter, 2008. And the third one was 2013's Would You Rather.
Would you rather just get in a little bit more?
Yeah, sure.
There you go. Don't yell at me, Lou. Don't yell at me, Lou. All right.
Sorry.
All right. So those were the 3 choices, and the choice came down to pretty much that was a pretty heavy vote for Tusk, right?
Yeah. Usually there's like a 2-way race at the very least.
Yeah.
This wasn't much of a race.
It was never close.
No. Tusk outdid by it was like by more than half the next contender.
I think that's heavily due to the fact that there's a lot of Kevin Smith fans out there.
Yep.
And the fact that there was at least one less contender, because there was only 3 of us in the last episode. We only rolled 3 die. Right. With us tonight, Redheaded Stranger Laura. You know her from such episodes as Our Favorite Concerts. And what else? What else have you done with us? Oh, Shaun of the Dead. Shaun of the Dead. That's right. And more than that, Laura, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Very good. Laura's this first time she's also not on Zoom. She's slowly interceding into our lives in real life.
That's right.
I'm slowly creeping in closer.
She's creeping in closer.
We met her at the drive-ins at the Strand.
We've seen her
at the drive-in.
So until we actually had seen Laura in person, we could have still been technically getting catfished by someone who's not a real person.
You still may be.
You still,
yeah. Well,
I'm not going to release all of my secrets
okay.
yet.
All right. So this isn't a catfish situation. So Kevin Smith, Tusk. Let's get into it a little bit. And this is interesting too, because the story behind this movie is probably, in my opinion, more interesting than the movie itself. Larry and Laura had both kind of sidebar mentioned to me. Laura had mentioned that when I told her, asked her to come on and do this episode of this movie, that you were a listener of the podcasts at the time.
Yeah.
Okay, because this was born from, we're a podcast, this was born from a podcast.
Right. Smodcast,
right? Smodcast episode, I have it here, 259.
Yep.
Perfect.
All right, 259. And Laura, what exactly happens on episode 259 of Smodcast? Do you remember what you were hearing that day?
I don't remember so much the banter that came before it, but Kevin Smith loves Canada, and Scott Mosier is from Canada, so they talk about Canada a lot on their podcast. And they were talking about this ad that they had found on Gumtree.uk, which was I think Craigslist or something.
That's what I get from what I'm looking at, yeah.
And it was about a man that was looking to rent out a room, as long as the person renting the room dressed as a walrus a certain
fair.
amount of times.
That's fair. That's it. Yeah.
That's
So,
yeah, that
yeah.
sounds absolutely 100% right.
A Gumtree ad. Isn't there a Mr. Gumtree in the movie as
Well,
well?
Yeah.
they refer to it. I'm surprised you don't remember that because they say the name
Yeah.
706 times in that 4-minute scene. The name is said 706 times. I counted. Larry, are you a listener to any of? Well, you know what? Let me before we get to that.
Dial it back.
Let's go around the table real quick. Mm-hmm. I want to get an idea of your fandom. So, Laura, are you a big Kevin Smith fan, or were you at one point?
Oh, I've loved Kevin Smith for a very long time. Watching Kevin Smith movies got me into movies when I was like 13 or 14.
Okay.
So he kind of ushered me into that with Clerks and stuff, and everything else branched out of that. So
Larry, you big Kevin Smith guy? I know we've talked, and I know when the last one came out, the reboot, I remember you went and saw it in the theaters.
Yep.
Which blows my fucking mind, but hey, that's okay.
Hey, no, listen, I'm a big Kevin Smith fan. You know, as I've mentioned a million times, I'm a fan of dialogue, and Kevin Smith is one of those directors who writes great dialogue, for the most part. Sometimes not so much. But, I remember seeing, I think it was the first night of Woodstock 94. After the music had stopped on the main stage, they played a film that nobody knew what it was. Had no soundtrack yet, no music to it, but it ended up being Clerks. It was an early cut of Clerks with the actual ending with her
he
getting
dies.
killed at the
Yeah.
end.
oh, really?
Yeah, so and everyone was like, "What the fuck is this?" And nobody could figure out what it was. And then years later, we're like, "Holy shit, this is that movie that we saw at Woodstock." And I've been a fan all other than Jersey Girl, the whole time.
All right, Manster, is he on your radar?
I am just a moderate fan of Kevin Smith. I don't dislike him. He's not. It doesn't rise up for me. He's just kind of there. You know, I enjoy his movies. That's about it.
Okay, so casual.
Yeah.
Me personally, I was a huge fan. I was probably of the right age when Clerks came out. You know, maybe right around a year younger than Larry. So I remember renting Clerks, and it was different than anything I'd ever seen before. You know, it's almost like the Seinfeld of movies in terms of it's a movie about nothing essentially, but it's about everybody's life at a certain point. And then a year later or 2 years later, Mallrats comes out, and I love Mallrats. Matter of fact, I watched Mallrats last night just because I was flipping through the channels that it was on. And I was like, I haven't seen this in a while. And I kind of wanted to have the juxtaposition of seeing Tusk earlier in the week and then watching something that was, you know, his wheelhouse, right? Because Tusk is not his wheelhouse. And that's what I find most interesting about it. I loved all of his stuff right up through Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back. And then he branched off, which I'm fine with. But I don't know where, there just came a point where I just felt like I didn't care anymore. And then like Clerks 2 came out, and I don't know, kind of a swing and a miss for me, but I didn't have the same amount of fandom I had earlier. I definitely don't dislike the guy. I do like the dialogue. He's funny, you know. Jason Mewes is a funny dude.
He's Jason Mewes.
He's a fucking force of nature, essentially.
Basically.
And he surrounds himself with some pretty good people. And I've seen, like I said, Zack and Miri was pretty funny. Everything I've seen, I think, is pretty funny. I will say, I thought that I got the idea of that reboot. It was a complete love letter to the fans, but I just felt like Strikes Back was its own thing and really funny, and that was a love letter to the fans at that point. And reboot just felt like, I don't know, I couldn't stand it. I fucking hated that movie.
Yeah, hate's a strong word for me, but I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
I can't argue when anybody says that they hated that movie. It's a tough one. It really is, because it's just a lot of the same jokes rehashed.
Yes, and stuff you saw in like Strikes Back already, you know what I mean? Like 20 years later. It's impressive that he could do this stuff 20 years later, you know, and also after almost dying, you know, a guy has a massive heart attack, you know. But I will say I was super impressed by him when I saw Red State in 2011.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah.
See, no, I've never seen that. And I've never seen Zack and Miri, so.
Zack and Miri, you could take or leave, because Zack and Miri is even though it's not.
I love Zack and Miri.
It's good.
I can watch Zack
She
and Miri.
likes that because she gets to see Jay Mewes' dick.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. It's just that reason. I hate everything
That's
else
why
about
I like it. That's
yeah.
why I like it. I was only saying that to cover up the fact that that's why I like it.
Yeah, just push it off on me.
Larry's like,
Deflecting.
Larry's like, there's a girl here for I can start using this stuff. Zack and Miri, I wouldn't suggest you have to run out just because it's kind of more of the same. But Red State is not more of the same.
No.
Yeah, I'll go see Red State. I want to see that. I've been reading about it, doing a little research here.
Red State, I mean, you know, without playing my cards in terms of how I feel about Tusk, if I had to pick between the two, I'm watching Red State again.
Okay.
And that doesn't mean I dislike Tusk. It just means Red State to me is a more complete movie. Michael Parks is so much more forward in that one. Mm-hmm. He's a bigger role. And he gets some great dialogue, and it's a fantastic movie. But if you were to watch all of Kevin Smith's movies in an afternoon or two, and then put Red State in, and you didn't know it was him, and someone said, "Who made that?" You're never going to guess Kevin Smith.
No, okay.
Yeah.
Because it's this like it's based on the Westboro Baptist Church, and it's this kind of like suburban horror movie essentially, right? About things that can go wrong in your backyard. That's not what he does. And I give him credit with Tusk too, because Tusk is this really weird thing that, as I was going to say to Larry, starts off on a podcast. Now, as Laura, were you listening to the podcast at the time?
No, I've never listened to. I'm not a podcast guy, which you would never know.
You're on enough of them,
Which
Larry.
you would never know. But I was never. There's like one podcast that I've listened to multiple episodes of. I listen to you guys and Nomcast and the ones that are our friends. But I mean, outside of ones of people that I know, there's only one podcast I've ever listened to multiple episodes of, and it's not Kevin Smith's. So no, never heard it before.
Is it like Bob Vila's? Is it like is it like This Old House the podcast?
That's how did this get made?
Okay.
Yeah,
that's very
good
popular.
stuff.
Yeah, I listened to one episode on Officer Mike Simonetta's advice and was just fucking hooked.
Blown away.
Those guys are hysterical.
So, but you had heard about the idea that
I knew he had a podcast, and I remember when this whole thing happened. I do remember somebody mentioned it to me that they had this crazy shit on Kevin Smith's podcast, and maybe it was my cousin Dave because he's a big podcast guy. And so I remember when this was becoming a thing, and there was a Twitter vote on Walrus yes, Walrus no. I do remember. I don't remember if I voted, but I do remember that whole thing.
I think I voted. Yeah.
Did you vote yes or no?
Yeah, I'm sure you
Yes.
voted.
Oh, yes. Of course.
You wanted to see this.
Of
Yeah.
course, yes.
So, Manster, what is the yes or no? What's the Walrus yes or no?
Walrus yes or no is he asked his audience, would you actually, after their banter for like an hour, would you like to actually see a movie made out of this idea? And it came back, yes, absolutely.
So, yeah. So he had given in the treatment for Clerks Part 3, right? He gives that in, and he's waiting on approval for it. So in the meantime, this episode happens. There's some person on Gumtree, UK, who, if you live with me, you got to, the whole walrus
Dress
thing.
like a walrus.
Dress like a walrus. That's normal shit, right?
Yeah, totally normal.
Yeah.
So they talk about this. They vote walrus yes, and he says, "I'm going to make this into a movie," but he has to do it quick because his intentions are to make Clerks 3 really fast. Clerks 3 gets held up, so now he has a chance to really make this movie.
But didn't they basically, if you listen to it, didn't they basically pitch? Didn't he pretty much create the whole fucking story on that one podcast?
In the
Yeah,
podcast?
pretty much.
That's insane.
Yeah.
You can just listen to it and hear the story developing as they're talking about it. And a
crazy.
lot of things that they said or mentioned actually end up in the movie.
Wow.
The way they describe them in the podcast.
I'm sure you can go back and find it,
You know,
It's on the
just
DVD.
go there.
I have the DVD, and you can listen to the entire
Oh, really?
podcast
Huh.
episode on it. And at the end of the credits, they do clips
Yeah.
of it in there. But I'm pretty sure if you just go to his website
That's
or whatever,
so crazy.
I thought
be on there.
about listening to the podcast. I just didn't have time this week, but I am curious enough to go back and listen to.
Yeah, I'm surprised I never have.
Yeah.
As long as it's not one of those podcasts, it's like 4 hours long. Is it like
I
4
think
hours
it's like
long?
2 hours. long,
Okay, that's
probably.
all right. That's
Well,
doable.
yeah, if you're going to listen to a Kevin Smith podcast, he's
It's
going to
gonna
talk
be-
without
He's gonna
breathing
talk a lot.
for like
He's
an
a
hour.
talker. I don't know
He
if
is
you
a
know that.
talker.
He's a
Yeah.
talker.
He is a talker.
He goes up on stage and talks for like fucking 5 hours at people.
He
Oh,
does.
yeah.
He
Oh,
does.
yeah.
But he remains interesting the
He's
whole
a
time.
captivating speaker. He
really
can talk
is.
about anything, and he talks about it with passion, and
Yep.
he's happy and excited about it, and you just want to listen to him.
And a
that's-
lot of hand motion.
Oh, yeah. Mhm.
A lot of hand motion.
All right, Laura's giving this thing a 5. I already know that for sure. I already know that for sure. We haven't talked about the movie yet, but I have a feeling it's going to be a 5. So he ends up being able to make this movie. He has to make this movie in essentially 15 days. He has 15 days to make this movie. Now, initially, he was contracted through Blumhouse. Is it Blum or Bloom? Blumhouse?
I don't fucking
Yeah.
care.
Who knows?
I say Blumhouse.
Blumhouse, yeah. So this is the company that makes these movies real quick and turns them around. The Purge, the Halloween Kills, Halloween. Let's go have a fucking happy Sunday. Yeah, Halloween poops. So they've gotten really big in the last few years, and it was originally going to be through Blumhouse, and Blumhouse couldn't get it put together fast enough for what he wanted to do. So he ends up making it under his own label, Smodcast Pictures, which is kind of a production company he did. So it was filmed between November 4th and 22nd of 2013, mostly in North Carolina. 2 days of filming in Los Angeles to accommodate a certain someone who we'll get to in a little
certain
bit.
someone.
A certain someone. There is an actor in this movie, and we will talk about it. Everybody knows, but just for the sake of fun, is in this movie that people aren't supposed to know about. He's not credited or anything.
Right.
If you had asked me from looking at him initially, and he's made up, and you're supposed to go, I know this guy, but he's definitely made up. I would have picked. You know who Christopher Maloney is?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Honestly, he kind of looked
Yeah, I
like
can
Christopher
see that.
Maloney a little bit.
I didn't think that at all, but now that you mentioned that,
And I
yeah,
think
can see
the
that.
reason I think that is if you've ever seen Harold and Kumar White Castle, Christopher Maloney is the truck driver and he's under all that makeup. And it's almost similar, like the goofiness of it.
Or it could be Elias Codius.
Or Elias Codius, who looks very much like
He does.
Christopher Maloney.
I guess so. Yeah.
So there's an actor and they had to go back and shoot for 2 days.
I did figure out who it was before it was over.
Oh, so you didn't know who it was?
I did not. The first time I saw this movie, I did not know who this actor was that you were talking about.
Wow.
And I did figure it out about halfway through his performance.
Okay, all right. I don't know if I would have figured it out without having known it.
Jen picked it up fucking right away.
Did she really?
I was like, who's that? And she just nailed it. I was like, oh, all right, go upstairs.
Go away. Go away from me.
I
Good
don't
job.
remember ever being in the dark about that.
Yeah.
Like, I don't remember.
Yeah, I
being
think I
like,
always
oh my
knew.
God. I
think
think
I
I just
knew.
knew going into it that he was going to be in it at some point.
I think maybe it would have been through like maybe industry or something, but it's not credited anywhere.
Yeah, no.
They may and not in sometimes in movies like in Seven, Kevin Spacey's not in the beginning credits, but he is in the end credits.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, the end credits, it just says the name of the character, Guy Lapointe.
There's nothing else, so we'll get to that. This movie came out on September 19th of 2014. Very quickly, this was like less than a year of turnaround time. They didn't have to do a lot of there wasn't a lot of effects or anything like that, or good effects at the very least.
I mean, there were effects. That's for sure.
There wasn't really a lot of good effects. Let's just put it that way. How I'm feeling about it. Gumtree. The Gumtree post was posted by, and this was all a hoax, by the way. A British poet / prankster named Chris Parkinson. Smith reached out to and gave him an associate producer credit,
Right.
for doing that. So he was a fan anyway. Let's see if I have anything else here.
He's also in the movie for a brief scene.
Oh, is he? Who is
Yeah. He's in the background sitting on a bar.
he? Oh, okay.
Oh, he's one of the
the
bar
end of it.
guys.
Yeah.
At the H bar, bar H.
Yeah,
Bar H.
Yeah, when when
H?
the friends go looking for him at
Okay.
the end, he's on the bar, yeah.
Okay. And the other thing I have, just before we get into the cast with Lloyd, this is part of Kevin Smith. He has what's eventually going to be his True North trilogy.
Yeah.
This was the first Tusk, and then there is Yoga Hosers,
Yoga hosers.
which I've never seen.
I've never seen.
and just looks goddamn ridiculous.
bad, yeah.
Not a good film.
There's bratwurst Nazis in it. I guess I was reading about it, and I went
Listen, it's not a good film. Let's just,
Bratzies?
Bratzis.
The Bratzies, yeah.
Yeah, they're actually called the Bratzis.
Yeah, that's what they're called.
Yeah. No joke. No joke.
that's a bad film.
Yeah, it looks bad. And then the third, I must admit, I'm totally interested in if it ever happens. It's called Moose Jaws.
Yeah.
I'm totally interested in that.
It is Jaws with a moose.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So Lloyd, let's get into the cast of Tusk.
Well, we got Justin Long starring as Wallace Brighton. I love the choice of name there, too.
Fairfield, Connecticut's own.
Fairfield, Connecticut, yep.
Yep.
Yeah, he plays the selfish prick, basically, podcaster,
An asshole.
and Walrus Boy.
Such an asshole.
He is such an asshole.
hated
and
him.
he's got the cheesiest mustache.
It makes him so much more of an asshole. with the
Exactly,
mustache.
yeah. The way he treats his girlfriend,
Such
and
an asshole.
partner. He's cartoonishly obnoxious to her. It's hard to watch.
Yeah.
It's so bad.
And let's not forget, I mean, I'm sure this is on purpose, but his name is Wallace.
Yeah.
Yeah, Wallace. Yeah.
Not
Yeah.
far from Walrus.
So he was. I first remember Justin Long from the Ed TV show. You guys ever see that?
No, my
I
first.
remember the show.
Vaguely.
but
Yeah,
I
Tom
remember it being
Cavanaugh,
on,
Julie
yeah.
Bowen. Yeah, it was a good show. He was on Galaxy Quest, Jeepers Creepers, Dodgeball, Live Free
I
or
think-
Die Hard.
I think Jeepers Creepers was
Jeepers
the first thing I
Creepers.
saw him in.
Jeepers
And,
Creepers was my first thing.
Afterlife.
Or Accepted. I don't know which one came first.
Except it was after.
Okay, then
Yeah,
Jeepers
it's a great movie. That's a fucking funny
That is a
movie
great
too.
movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like it.
Ask me
Did you
about
guys
my
ever
wiener.
see? Did you ever see the movie Afterlife with Christina Ricci in him?
No.
That's worth a look. If you haven't seen that, check it out.
I feel like I might have seen
If you're
it. but I-
if you're a fan of Christina Ricci
Which I am.
Yeah.
and you want to see her sans clothing,
Oh.
Oh,
everybody
Well,
just perked
she
up.
plays
there.
she plays a dead girl in a morgue that wakes
can we
up.
pause the
Yes,
episode and go check
yes.
this out?
Yes.
With the car accident.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've
And
seen that, yeah.
Justin Long is her boyfriend.
What is the line from Django Unchained? You had my You had my curiosity, and now you have my attention.
Yes.
Or whatever it is.
All right, so go check out After Life. Then we have Michael Parks as Howard Howe. He plays the wacky guy. He's from Dusk Till Dawn, Kill Bill 1 and 2, Grindhouse, Red State, a lot of stuff. Oh, by the way, Justin Long, a ton of movies this guy's in.
Yeah.
I had no idea when I was looking through his credits. Like, wow.
Yep, he's been in a lot.
Yeah.
Michael Parks, so when we were about to do the show, and we've done, because we're doing On the QT over at the ForgottenEntertainment.com.
Yes, we are.
The whole Quentin Tarantino.
Go check that out.
Yeah, show, which you should check out because Larry was on our Death Proof. Larry was on our Death Proof episode.
I was.
And Laura was on our Reservoir Dogs episode.
Yep.
We kicked it all off. But Michael Parks, so I was doing a lot of research on him between those and this. And on this one, I discovered he was on a show in 1969 called Bronson. That was essentially about and this is 69. So he's like kind of like a freewheeling, like motorcycle riding guy.
All right.
That drives from town to town and gets into kind of like adventures, but like these are like 60s adventures. So like he might deal with like the Klan in one, and then he goes to this other town, and it got canceled after a year. And as Larry had mentioned, I think before, maybe on the Death Proof, I can't fucking say Death Proof.
Death Proof.
On the Death Proof episode,
Good job.
that thank you, that he essentially been listed and blackballed in Hollywood, and this was around the time. And I'm reading about this show, and I'm like, fuck, I want to find this show on DVD. It's a young Michael Parks, and the whole thing starts off with he goes on the road on these adventures because his best friend is like a newspaper editor who kills himself because the stresses of life and everything, played by Martin Sheen. And I'm like, this show's got to be fucking
You called
good.
it, was it Bronson?
Bronson. He just drives town to town. It was like 25 episodes, and then it got canceled.
We'll have to find this.
Yeah, I'm dead curious
You've
about
got
it.
my interest.
And I got to be honest with you. I brought it up and read the Wikipedia thing. A 1969 Michael Parks, hot.
Oh,
Yeah, I
okay.
saw a picture of him. I don't know, like riding on a motorcycle or something.
That's from the
yeah,
show.
That's that picture.
That's from the
Yeah.
show.
Yeah.
He's on a
Yeah.
bike. Laura, let me do this for you.
Okay.
He's on a bike.
Ooh.
Younger than we know him here.
Yes.
Like leather, like the brown leather type jacket. Easy
wavy
Rider
hair.
type jacket.
Yeah.
Yeah. It works.
Yeah.
I can
It's
see
all
Say
it.
Easy Rider or Cool Rider? 'Cause
Oh,
Oh.
there's a difference.
Ooh, Rider. Yeah. My first ever crush as a kid on anybody from like TV or movies, Michelle Pfeiffer from that movie.
Oh, I thought you were going to say
Maxwell Caulfield?
Yeah, Maxwell
No,
Caulfield.
I mean,
I'm a very handsome man.
he's a very handsome man.
was very
Rex
handsome.
Manning Day.
No, Michelle Pfeiffer in Grease too.
Yeah, I don't
Holy
like her.
shit,
Not
I
a
was
fan.
obsessed with her.
Not a fan.
Yeah.
Not a fan.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're
She
wrong.
always looks like she finished crying like 3 seconds ago.
You mentioned that. There could be something very sexy about that. I got to be honest with you.
I don't know.
I'm a fan.
All right, who else we got?
So
Master?
Michael Parks in this movie, regardless of what you think of the movie, he is fantastic.
Yes, he's fantastic in everything.
He's so quirky and just his delivery is so good. Then we have Genesis Rodriguez as Allie Leon, his Wallace's girlfriend. I don't really know her from anything.
Me neither.
Beautiful.
Yeah, beautiful
She's
girl.
good looking. Yeah.
Yeah.
And she did a great job.
She did a good job.
performance.
Yep.
That whole
I like how-
monologue that she did.
And she
I like
put
how
up
we're
with
pigs
him.
and Laura brings it in. Like she's good looking, very good looking, sexy.
Yeah, we're not
sexy, and Laura's like she was really good in the movie
Wonderful
too.
actress. Very talented.
Legs up to here.
Fucking pigs.
Then we have Haley Joel Osment as Teddy Kraft. That's
Hot.
Justin's podcasting partner, and also cheating with his girlfriend.
Can I tell you one? Okay, so first of all, I like
He sees dead people.
I like Haley Joel. I always have.
Yeah.
Right. You're never going to be able to unsee this when you hear it because I saw the actor talking about it. Haley Joel Osment and Rob McElhenney from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia have the same face. If you know who Rob is,
Oh my God.
Yeah, right. You see it, and
Oh.
immediately it's just there. They have the same face.
He's thinner though, right? He has
thinner.
dark hair.
Mac
He's got
from
dark
Always
Mac
Sunny.
from It's
Yeah.
Always Sunny.
Yeah.
He's the one who said it. They asked him, "Is there any celebrity you've ever been mistaken for?" And he's like, "Haley Joel Osment." It
Okay,
happens all the
I could see that.
time.
Yeah.
But besides that, Haley Joel Osment,
Oh
just
shit, it is him.
it is him, right?
That
Holy
blew my mind.
Yeah. I'm always willing to blow people's minds on Funny Comics.
Yeah.
He was in a show recently I watched on Hulu that I enjoyed a lot called Future Man. He's like a secondary character on it. And again, this is a kid actor who's kind of done right throughout his career.
Right.
He disappeared for a long time, came
He
back.
pops up here and there. Yeah, there he is.
That's so fucking bizarre.
Yeah.
He looks just like him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like a much better looking version. Like Patrick Swayze and his brother, like
Patrick
You know
Swayze's
what I mean?
brother
Like-
is the dollar store version of Patrick Swayze.
Right.
and that's
Yeah.
just
That
kind of
doesn't
like
suck.
Haley Joel Osment is the dollar store Rob McElhenney.
Yes, he is. Yes, he is.
I see what's happening here. Weird.
Hey, do you want me to save who we talked about to the end, or just get to him now?
Let's get to it now.
Let's get to it now. All right. So
Spoiler alert.
there is a character called Guy Lapointe who is basically a detective looking for a serial killer.
Basically, Inspector Clouseau.
Inspector Clouseau, absolutely. And he is played by Johnny Depp.
Bum, ba-da-da.
Uncredited Johnny Depp. Lots of makeup. I think he does a fantastic job.
Do you?
I don't know. I've heard differently, but I like it.
Do you, though?
I do.
I guess we'll get to it.
I like it.
We'll get to it. I do like it as well. I don't like.
I like it especially when it's the banter between him and
That's not
Michael
him, though.
Parks.
That's not him. That's Michael Parks.
True. But I like his reactions to Michael Parks then.
Agreed. Michael Parks is stronger in that scene.
Yeah.
But I think the scene that Johnny
And
Depp is
I'm not
stronger
saying
in
Johnny Depp
is
is
the
not
restaurant scene.
Is he?
Yeah.
Is he though?
Yeah.
I like the restaurant scene.
Well, I mean, what other scenes are there where
we'll
he
get there.
might be strong?
We'll get there.
Well, did you watch all the way through the credits?
Other films, Lloyd. Other films.
I'm not talking about that.
Did you watch the movie all the way through the credits?
Oh, I did. That's his best
shit,
scene.
did I miss
That
something?
scene is great. Yeah.
That's his best scene.
So in the restaurant scene, he orders the 2 hamburgers.
Yeah. Oh,
And
the smash?
He smashes them and eats them.
Yeah.
So if you go through the credits, there's a scene where he's I think it's supposed to be before they storm the house. He's running through a field and he's got the shotgun and he just stops and he's holding his stomach and he's going, "You just had to have that second slider, didn't you?" I can't do the accent, but he's holding his
not bad.
stomach.
I think I saw that the first time, but I didn't stay tuned that long this
Yeah.
time.
Yeah. All right. So this movie.
funny.
Do we have nobody else?
Oh yeah,
right?
there's more.
Is there more?
Yeah. I'll skip the minor ones, but then you've got Harley Quinn Smith
Oh, of course.
Right.
as Colleen McKenzie and Lily Rose Depp. So these are the daughters of Kevin Smith and Johnny Depp.
Yeah.
This is their lead up
They're
to the
the-
yogurt hosers.
They're the
Yeah.
clerk girls in I hate American guys.
Yeah.
That actually should have been the end of those characters.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
That was
Yeah.
perfect.
Yeah,
They
they
didn't need a full movie.
That's all we needed from them.
What were they?
Yeah.
It was like Colleen M and Colleen C or something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
They're
both
Mackenzie
gone.
and Colette.
Yeah. And I think the reason Depp got involved in this is because he hired the daughter first, right?
No, she was on the set visiting her dad, and Kevin Smith was like, "Hey, you be in the movie too."
Oh, okay.
So
Okay.
she
Were
actually,
they already friends, the daughters, though?
yeah, apparently
They-
they've been friends for a
That's what I
long
thought,
time.
yeah.
Like, yeah.
Okay.
So they knew each other.
So the movie starts off with a couple of podcasters, and they're doing their show, which is
The
what's the name?
Party.
Yeah, there
the
it is.
Nazi party, right? So okay, hold your
They
horses.
think it's so clever.
I know they're so funny.
Yeah.
It actually leads to one of the funnier jokes in the movie. I think is when they're searching for him.
And
the
she's on the
girlfriend
phone?
said she's
Yeah.
very serious, and she has it seems like the person's attention.
Yeah.
But then when she says the show's name, they hang up.
Yeah.
So the
And
show.
Haley Joel Osment's like, spell it.
Yeah, spell it.
Yeah.
And she just says it.
How is it spelled, Larry, in the actual movie?
Notsee.
And the idea behind it, Lloyd, is what?
I don't know. I don't know the idea behind it.
Laura, do you know
they
the
don't
idea
see
behind the
things?
show?
Yeah, Teddy doesn't fly, Haley Joel Osment. So Wallace goes around and meets
That's
and
right,
interviews
all right.
all these weird people, and then comes back and describes it to Teddy on the podcast.
It
So
is-
Teddy does
can't
not
He
see.
cannot
All right. Yeah, I
Yeah.
get it. I remember now.
Right.
So that which leads
forgettable.
me to a question, and I'm sorry to break the fourth wall here. What is the travel budget of the Pint of Comics?
Oh, well, first of all, don't add an F to the O. It's an O.
Did I add an F?
You did. You said pint
It's
of.
the popcorn.
It's the popcorn.
It's popcorn.
The travel budget is essentially whatever me and Lloyd can scrape together.
That's right.
And we're not going far.
So I
Whatever a
can't-
train ride from like New Haven to New York costs.
Yeah.
I
that's
can't
about
fly
it.
to Manitoba after this.
No.
No.
And honestly,
What if he found a walrus man, though?
You can do it, there, Larry, just on your own dime.
Oh, okay. That's not a podcast budget then. If it's on my own.
Does
Well-
he get a per diem at least?
yeah, if the pint ever becomes,
we provide drinks at the recordings.
right. What did he say? He says at one point that the show is big enough to be kind of advertised, sponsored. So he's getting the money from there. We're not there.
Oh.
We're not there. And that's
I think
okay.
he said,
We're not
I think he
there.
said 100,000 a year.
He said
in
100,000
ad
last
sponsors.
year, and we are certainly not there. We're
Well,
certainly
if
not
you
there.
notice
All
when
right.
they're in the recording studio, you can see the posters for their tours that they've
Yes.
been on behind
Yep,
them. So they're
yep.
an established
Yeah.
podcast that have like a lot of fans. I
Imagine
guess,
how
so.
odd it must be though if they're doing like these events, like because that's what those posters were like.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just Wallace because Teddy doesn't fucking go anywhere.
Yeah, right? Like, are
Yeah.
they
That's
just...
a little bizarre.
Yeah.
Maybe
That
that's
is
not
bizarre.
something they thought through.
It's not well thought through.
It's not well thought through, and not to mention, I mean, obviously, if the show has its fans, it has its fans. But Christ, I mean, if out of
Nobody's
the two
going
of
to
them,
see a half a podcast.
not just half a podcast, but the fucking douchebag half.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
you know,
the douchebag half.
Yeah, the worst half, yeah.
Teddy is obviously, you know, he's complicit in all this, but man, Wallace is just a fucking cretin. He really is. So these two guys are doing their thing, and what they're going to do is Wallace is going to fly to Canada, Manitoba, and he is going to go see the Kill Bill Kid. The Kill Bill Kid is very much based off of
Kill
the Star
Bill
Wars
kid.
kid
Yeah.
from years ago here on the internet. He's a kid who's out in his garage fucking around with a samurai sword. Maybe it was a Hatari Hanzo. I don't know.
It had to be a cut clean
It
through,
went
man.
right through
yeah.
very easily, yeah.
It cut his leg off like a goddamn like
Bad bit of CGI that was.
super bad.
Actually,
Yeah.
that CGI, I watched the commentary, was created by students at the Dave School, which
All right.
is a school that Kevin Smith kind of sponsors for
right, I'll
digital
let it slide.
animation
Yeah.
and video. So it was done by kids at school.
You can tell.
So,
And
yeah.
I'll let
Okay.
Bob-
I don't know if
Yeah.
any of you noticed, but it seemed to me anyway that the tip of the sword would have nicked his other leg as well because
Maybe.
it was pretty
Yeah.
long.
Maybe. It did make me wish, though, that the Star Wars kid had a real lightsaber.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if the Star Wars kid had a real lightsaber, that means that there's hope for any of us to have a real lightsaber.
Absolutely true. Very true.
So he cuts his leg off, and that's what makes this kid the Kill Bill Kid.
Question.
Yes,
Is that funny to you?
No, that's
Right?
not funny.
No, that's tragic and awful.
but that is
Sad.
but that is the internet.
I guess it is.
That is the
It's-
internet. That's the world we live in today.
You really think people would find it that funny?
Yes.
Oh, people are terrible.
Yes.
That
People
a
would
child
love
lost
that.
a leg?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Uh-huh.
It would be funny to me if I knew it wasn't real, and I saw that and somebody did that, and
course.
I'm like,
Of
oh
course.
yeah, that's funny.
Yeah.
But we're
But
gonna
to think that this kid chopped his leg off, and
But we learn
Now they're
more. We
making
learn
fun of
more
him.
about Wallace's personality,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Laura, he gets there, right, Laura, and he ends up walking in on a very casual, by the way, backyard funeral
Yeah.
for Kill Bill Kid. He finds out that the kid couldn't handle his life, and he killed himself because of what happened. And what's his reaction?
He says, like, oh, fuck, like, what is he going to do now? Like, he's more concerned about...
He calls the kid a selfish prick.
Oh, yeah.
Two times.
Yeah.
2 times. He calls him a selfish prick to himself.
Couldn't have waited a couple days.
Right.
He said.
Yeah, that's what he said.
So I think part of it is it's not only that, yes, Laura's right, there's a lot of this shit going on in the world today, but we're also setting Wallace up for the ultimate fail because he is just an unsympathetic fucking creep, right? There's a scene where there's a flashback with him with his girlfriend in bed, and he's just, she tells him, I like the old you, right?
That is
like,
the worst.
I liked you when you were just like a stand-up comic. And he goes on this tirade about how the stand-up comic was the weak, couldn't do anything right.
yeah, I was a loser back then.
Right.
Now I've got confidence and ego, and it's like,
No, you
I like the other
you
guy.
probably had a decent personality back then.
Yeah.
That's
He
probably
got
what it
her,
was.
right? This
Yeah.
beautiful girl
That's right.
who could have anybody probably says, I'm going to be with you. And she stays with him through the fact that he becomes a real fucking prick.
Right.
So we're setting him up just to be the fucking worst, right?
Yep.
So he ends up leaving there, and he's going to come home the next day. But he stops at, where does he stop, Larry?
Bar H.
Bar H, which I read, I guess, when they filmed this, wherever, no, maybe it wasn't this movie or a different movie, there was a Bar I somewhere in Canada that they hung out in.
Oh, okay.
So they made it was like a tribute. Bar H
Oh, that's
is
clever.
what this is. He hangs out there and he goes to take a leak. As he's taking a leak, as opposed to like our fancy like TGI Fridays and stuff we have here in America, where there's like ESPN playing while you're fucking pissing everywhere.
Yep.
I'm sure you don't have the same experience, Laura, but
Maybe.
the guys get the TVs in front of the urinals and a lot of these. Like,
I wish I had that experience when I was taking a piss.
So,
Not fair.
Lloyd, what does he see on the cork board in front of him?
Well, he sees an ad. I guess you like ripped a little name off, and the ad says, he's looking for a companion, someone to come on over and spend some time, as long as you can listen to my stories. I want to tell you stories.
I was a seafaring man,
I was a seafaring man. Yep.
Yep.
and I have plenty of stories.
Countless
So Wallace is
adventures.
always looking for a story. So he's like, "What the fuck? I got to go see this guy."
All right, so this is what I got to ask, right? And this is all in all seriousness. Let's say that you're a podcaster, and that you're gonna have to fly home. Are you willing to go out in the nether regions of Canada to meet up with a person that you have no clue what's going on?
The adventurous side of me wants to say yes, but the practical side of me would be like, no, I'm going to go to sleep early and just go home as soon as I can.
Every side of me says fuck no.
Yeah.
All right, Larry, you?
Am I strapped?
I think you are.
I might do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I probably would do it.
Okay. Lloyd,
Strapped or not.
strapped or not?
Yeah,
Okay.
that was just a joke. But yeah, I would do it probably.
If I was like really hard up because I didn't want to waste the money for going there and coming back with nothing, and I knew that this might provide some kind of content, yeah, I think I would.
It's all about content. I'm surprised you wouldn't, John.
Yeah, no, I'm a big pussy. I'm a big pussy.
But you're a content guy.
Yeah, I know. I'm a content guy, but like 2 hours away in Manitoba.
Yeah.
It just
Bifrost.
sounds Bifrost.
Yeah, it's a little scary.
It all sounds wrong.
Yeah.
You know?
What the fuck was the name of his house? Pippi?
Pippi Hill.
Pippi Hill. Yeah.
Well, once you saw Pippi Hill, you'd be like, oh, this is fine then.
Yeah, that actually sounds more
Yeah.
makes
Yeah.
it more welcoming.
Yeah, definitely.
Like, just
I was
because-
kind of bothered by the fact that when he does get a phone call out, he can't remember the name of the fucking house. They don't even like. Me personally, when he's saying like where he is, I'm like the name of the house. It's like the house fucking. This house doesn't have a fucking name.
Well, I don't
this
know.
house
He
has
was
a
kind
name.
of distraught, so
Yeah.
He had,
May-
to,
I
and
could-
he had to pee when he got there, so maybe he didn't even look at the fucking name of the.
Yeah, but he does. No, he
I
says
think he
it.
said it.
Oh,
to
that's right. He
himself,
welcomes
says
him.
it.
He welcomes him to Pippi Hill.
Welcome
Yeah.
to Pippi Hill.
That's right.
All right, so he.
I like how you said it like Shaft. Welcome to Pippi Hill, motherfucker.
Well, goddamn, Justin Long, you looking good. All right, so
Thank God Isaac Hayes was in this film.
yeah, so he ends up going. He goes to the A to Z, which I like the name of that, which is where the Colleens work. He's a total fuck there as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He literally makes me embarrassed to be an American in that scene because he does all the American stuff. He's rude, and then we actually get a scene later that shows more of that scene, and he's even worse.
Oh yeah,
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 yeah.
He's even worse.
He's like, how's Degrassi?
how's
treating you?"
Degrassi treating you?
Which is just, if you know Kevin Smith, you know he loves Degrassi.
Fucking loves Degrassi.
Big
Wasn't he
fan.
on some episodes?
He
He directed a
directed
couple
them?
of like a story arc or something,
Yep.
and yeah, he's
Yeah, he's always loved Degrassi.
Yeah.
I know that for a fact. I've never seen an episode.
When I was a kid, Degrassi, I think, was on Nickelodeon, and I saw like a handful of episodes ever. I do know that it's a huge thing. What's his name? Fucking Drake was from Degrassi High.
yeah.
Oh, was
Like,
he
he was an
really?
actor on Degrassi High. He was famous for that.
Is it like a Bayside High? Is it like Saved by the Bell? Is that what? Because
I
that's
don't
what
No,
I
it's
picture.
Isn't it like
there's
more?
a lot less levity in it than
It's more like a
Saved by the
real
Bell.
kind of like heavy like teen pregnancies.
Yeah,
and
it's
So my
more
so-called
after
life.
school.
My
Yeah.
so-called life.
My so-called life.
Yeah, not
Okay.
as good as my so-called life.
No,
though.
fucking
yeah.
not. What is for
Sorry.
Christ's sake?
Well, let's be honest.
Whoa.
My so-called
Don't-
life.
What the hell are you guys
do it.
all talking about?
Don't do it.
Oh, I don't know
My
that.
so-called life was
AJ Langer was my
I've never
life.
seen that.
yeah.
Come on.
You were
No.
never a teenage girl in the 90s?
I was.
No,
Apparently
I was.
So I'm
No.
gonna tell you. I'm gonna tell you why Larry and Laura watched My So-Called Life. Same reason most people did, because like fucking 22-year-old Jared Leto and those
I hate
eyes.
Jared Leto.
You don't like Jared
I
Leto?
do not like Jared
Really?
Leto
Okay.
at
But
all.
as an actor, like.
No, I hate him as a person and as an actor.
Wow.
Okay.
Okay,
It's
fine.
strong. Is there a personal reason?
He just seems like a douchebag.
He does
I
seem
just-
like
Yeah, that's true.
Like,
God
okay,
damn it,
he's
and
done
He might be the
some roles
actual
that
nicest guy in the world.
I don't.
But in Dallas Buyers Club, he was so amazing.
I've actually not seen Dallas Buyers Club. Yeah,
He was fucking amazing.
that's like it is. It really annoys me when he does give a
Good.
good performance.
Laura-
but it doesn't
Laura-
make me hate him
You,
any less.
root against him.
Laura,
Yeah,
Laura has
actively.
purchased every 30 Seconds to Mars album, and she keeps saying it's gonna fucking get better, and it's always the same emo pop 1997 bullshit.
Well, listen, Jordan Catalano was a fucking prick in My So-Called Life.
He was.
Yeah, he was.
So is this where it stems from? Is
It
it,
could
from
be
Jordan?
maybe subconsciously. I just really don't like Jordan Catalano.
Yeah.
So now I just don't like Jared Leto.
I
So
think I
this-
see a
Alright.
My So-Called Life spin-off podcast here.
We could. So Lloyd, just
No thanks.
just to fill you in, it only lasted like 1 year.
One
I think.
season.
One season.
Yep.
It
One
introduced the
glorious
world
season.
to two people mainly: Jared Leto, and the lead star was Claire Danes. This was the first
Oh,
Claire
okay.
Danes.
I know
thing.
her. I mean, I know Jared Leto. and
AJ
her.
Langer never really did much other than Escape from L.A. and she was on an episode of Seinfeld. But you're a fan of Star Trek Discovery.
Yeah.
Wilson Cruz, who plays
Oh, okay. Yeah, he was on that.
he was
Okay.
he was like the at the time in the 90s like the gay friend,
Yeah.
you know, which was like controversial at the time, you know.
Ricky, right? Ricky?
yeah, Ricky. Yeah.
Yeah, he's on Star Trek Discovery. He's really good on it. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. No, I never saw the show.
So let's reel this fucker back
Sorry.
into
Let's go. Yeah, let's get it back.
Tusk. Into Tusk. Follow us after episode 200 when we slide into becoming the maybe first ever My So-Called Life.
My so-called podcast.
Yeah, My So-Called Podcast.
That's a good one.
If that's
it.
not already a fucking
We got
podcast.
it. Yeah, we get a copy to trademark that right now.
What a turn would that be after like 200 episodes? We like just pawn everybody and change into a
Yeah.
show about that show.
My
And
so-called whatever.
and we somehow, my so-called podcast, and we somehow make it last longer than this has. Like, we go 300 episodes talking about a show that had like 17 episodes. Yeah, one season. It's like, so in this episode, we're talking about Claire Danes' haircut.
Yeah.
For this season of 10
Once
episodes.
a month, can I just have an episode dedicated to bitching about Jared Leto?
Yes.
I don't like
Yes.
it.
Apparently, you should.
I want to find the Jared Leto movie that you enjoy him in, or like
I
him in.
didn't mind him in Blade Runner 2049.
Okay.
All right. Fair.
You know what? As much as I hated Suicide Squad, I liked him much more as the Joker in it than I really thought.
I didn't think he
It
got
was-
a fair shake.
No.
No,
don't think he got
like
a fair
again, like
shake.
I went in already hating him and like ready to, and I hated the movie, and I was like, he wasn't terrible.
bad.
Yeah.
So yeah,
He'd get cut
off
out
the
of a
top
lot
of
of
my
that.
head. That's where I'm okay with it.
All right.
Yeah. And then again, Dallas Buyers Club.
I haven't seen that.
He earned. I'm pretty sure he won an Oscar.
He did.
Yeah,
That's what he
something
won
like
his
that.
Oscar for.
Every fucking bit of that was deserved. It's one of the most insane performances I've seen. It's crazy.
Okay.
It's
All right,
crazy.
I'll have to watch that next.
That whole movie is.
Didn't see that either.
crazy.
Yeah, I got to check that out.
McConaughey is fucking.
I like McConaughey.
Oh, I love him so much. Yeah.
I do like him.
Yeah, that whole
Especially in
movie is
Magic
great.
Mike.
Oh yeah.
Now who's the pig? Well, I think he's a great actor.
Great performance. In
Don't
Magic
come into
Mike.
my house and make me feel bad about saying things about girls' boobs.
That's right. God damn it.
All right. So he goes to this house, Pippi Hill, right? And he meets Howard Howe. Howard Howe.
Yeah.
Howard Howe is an elderly guy. He's loquacious. He talks a
In a
lot.
wheelchair.
He's in a wheelchair, right? He's in a wheelchair. Offers him immediately a cup of tea, right? Like, would you like? First thing, he's got to take a leak, and when he takes a leak, I like the bit where he goes to the bathroom and the doll is staring at him, and he turns it around.
Yeah.
That apparently is a real thing that happened to Kevin Smith when he was younger, or one of Kevin Smith's friends. They went to the bathroom somewhere. There was a doll, and they turned it around, and it always stuck with them.
Yeah.
So yeah, he comes out and he offers some tea. I want to talk about this tea for a second for two reasons. Spoiler alert: one, it's doped.
Sure.
Two, Justin Long drinks this small cup of tea
Forever.
for fucking ever.
Yeah, he's really savoring.
I
it.
was getting fucking mad at the movie
That's right.
because I was like, that's a fucking tiny teacup.
And he's holding it with two hands.
He's holding it with two
practically
hands.
gulping it.
He's gulping. He's sipping. He's slurping. I'm saying to myself, this fucking can't have that much fucking tea in it.
right.
Did the tea to sip ratio bother you, Laura?
I didn't notice that, but I did notice how he kept saying how good the tea was.
Yes.
And I mean, I like tea. I
Same.
love tea.
I'm a tea drinker.
But
Yeah.
I've never been so blown away by how good a tea tastes that I have to audibly say it a couple of times to
Okay.
remember
Yeah.
him with.
All right.
Oh, this is good tea.
Yeah.
Would-
Yeah, he even points it out. He's like, I'm not a tea drinker.
Yeah.
I think everybody is.
Would that
Okay,
cup of
Mr.
tea
Howe.
lasted that long with you?
No. God, no. You should see the fucking cup I go through in like 10 minutes. Like, big cup. But there's a lot of stories. He wanted to savor his tea.
Yeah.
Hear about Hemingway. Hear about the walrus. There were stories.
So what are some of the stories? What did he tell him right off the bat?
Well, he busted out a quote about how if you should, if you something about drinking and not talking too much, you'll learn not to talk too much. I don't remember the exact quote.
It's something like
Busting out some rhyme of the Ancient Mariner, right?
And
Don't
that
do
was later.
anything
Oh, was it later?
drunk that you wouldn't do sober.
Something like
that.
Something like that, yeah.
And he says, "Oh, I know that Hemingway." He's like, "Yes, but Hemingway said it to me."
Yeah.
Oh,
That's where he's like, "Fucking what?" And he goes on about how him and Hemingway were in the service together, and he finds out that he was on the beach before D-Day. They were on the beach together, and Hemingway wasn't allowed into action, and they struck up a friendship because I guess Howard Howe worked in the kitchen and was able to smuggle Hemingway some booze, which, if you know Hemingway,
Yeah.
is
yeah.
Loves his food.
Loves his booze and
Yeah.
loves his shotguns.
loved it. But yes, both and fighting, loved fighting.
Yeah.
So they developed a friendship, and Justin Long is just taken in by this whole story, and he shows him he still has the bottle, which is then when, most importantly to the story, as he's looking at the bottle, he sees this long bone-looking thing, and asks what that is, and he's, well, that's a piece of a walrus. And he's like, what? Well, what is this? Like the tailbone or a spine? And he goes, nope, that would be the cock.
Now, Lloyd, before watching Tusk, at any point in your life, science classes or whatever, did you know that a walrus had an actual bone in its dick?
No, I don't recall that from any of my science classes.
It gives a
at
whole
all.
new world. Like
I'm totally jealous now.
like my lord.
Like, what the heck?
But don't whales have that also?
I don't know.
Maybe.
Could
I
be.
think I might have known that beforehand.
But so then you
I
get
love how he treats it too,
well, then
man.
you,
He's
yeah,
like
you get,
popping it
you get
off.
Justin
Jeez.
Long like fake coming in
Yeah.
the face with it, and you're just like,
You know what's funny about that is that so during the conversation they have, right? Where Justin Long has already, like I said, through this movie, proven he's a dick. He's a dickhole.
Yeah.
But like when he understands or recognizes Rhyme of the Ancient Mariner, and he brings up Hemingway, for a second you see that he's not a total idiot, right? Like he's
Yeah.
he
knows
you could,
these things,
You
yeah.
could see the probably the old Wallace, in there. Like there's a smart guy in there who's
Yeah.
not just a
Yeah.
crass dickhole.
Like your run-of-the-mill asshole isn't going to be excited to hear a Hemingway story,
Right.
But somebody that appreciated him and has some substance behind them
Exactly.
will be interested in that.
You got it.
Exactly. But then, like, he immediately goes to, like, jerking off the,
Yeah.
the bone and, like,
Yeah,
doing
yeah.
the thing. And then he essentially, as they're sitting down talking, just face plants, right?
Yeah.
Face plants because it has, as I said, it's been drugged. We get to the next scene. Now, here's a scene, I think this is before we get to the next scene, that bothered me because I felt like it was just, I felt like the way it was shot was pointless. But it's the scene where we discover, dun, 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 that Teddy is also boning the girlfriend.
yeah.
And the girlfriend, it starts with the girlfriend talking to like, kind of like the viewer, and she's saying all this
Yeah,
stuff.
I really
about-
didn't like that scene.
I didn't like it because we've only met 3 people in this movie so far, or 4.
Right.
A couple.
So you're not going to like if you're doing a scene like that, when you introduce that character she's talking to, the only way it's a surprise if it's someone we know, right? That's how I looked at it.
Yeah.
So the only people we met are Wallace, who's in fucking Canada, and Howard Howe, who's in Canada,
Right.
and Teddy, who's not. So I just
So by
felt,
process of elimination,
I felt
we
like he
already
was-
know who it is.
I felt like he was trying to do something, and then he does the thing where he shows it from 2 different, like kind
Mm-hmm.
of angles and everything. And I just thought, okay, slow your roll on this one. Like you're doing good so far, Kevin Smith. But I don't know. Am I wrong? I just felt like that scene was unnecessary as like a dun dun dun. It's Teddy,
I don't think that was so much the point of the scene to be shocking. I think it was more like character development.
I think it could have just been a conversation with the 2 of them on the bed rather than her facing the
I would've-
camera.
I would've
that would have
liked
worked
it more.
better for me.
if we skip forward ahead when Wallace is trying to call them, that is happening immediately after that scene. You can see that scene later on in the movie.
yeah. Okay.
So it's kind. I think maybe it's supposed to show the time frame of what's happening.
Okay.
It's clumsy.
It is clumsy.
It's not the best put together, but I think it was. I think
15 days, man.
Okay, all right. I'll give
Alright.
you that.
15 days
Yeah.
to
she
make this
delivered that
movie.
monologue very well, and she just cried
She
out
did
of
deliver
nowhere.
that monologue
she's
very
she used to act in telenovelas, so apparently she's able to cry on command, which is
But this also happens right after the scene there. We see, her and Wallace together, and she's begging him not to go and stuff. And I don't know, the 2 scenes being like concurrently right in a row don't seem to really work for me.
it's a
Because
little
she's
messy.
totally dissing him in the very next scene.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. She
So it makes me really question like where her loyalties really are. What
Well,
she really feels
she's
about
torn.
him.
She's saying what she's doing. She knows that and she even says, she's like, it's killing me.
Right.
It's tearing me apart that I'm cheating on him, even though I know that he's fucking half of America, because apparently they have a...
podcast groupies, which Lloyd,
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, we have podcast. Yeah. All the
I
time.
already asked about the travel budget.
Yeah,
That was my
no. I'm not worried about the travel
Yeah.
budget, but now that I found out about this, me and Lloyd are going to be looking
That
into
was my
this.
next question. I was going to say, where are these
Yeah, no, we're going to work on that, Larry. We'll let you
podcast
know.
groupies? Thank you, because I feel like I can do well.
Yeah.
As a podcast groupie.
Yeah, well, and plus you're on a lot of them,
Yeah.
You're like,
So
you go
you
right.
just spread
yeah.
all over the place.
Yeah, we're just on this. I
Yeah.
mean, you're out there with the Nomcast, and
Yeah. You're world famous.
What
Yeah.
the fuck, man?
so
I'm not seeing that though.
now we find out that she's hurt because Walrus is a douche barrel. He's a douche barrel,
Foretelling.
and he's also banging other chicks she knows about. Teddy makes her feel good, right? But she still feels bad because she knows that what they're doing is wrong. And Teddy is probably, they don't really get into his reasoning, but he's just the dickhead's friend who, probably...
Teddy is Wallace. Teddy is what Wallace was.
Yes, you're right. Teddy is
they got-
Wallace prior to the change.
Which is why she likes him.
But also, Teddy is sleeping with his best friend's girlfriend,
Yeah.
so
Total
he's
dick.
not
Yeah.
really
He's not the
pure
hero.
character. Yeah,
He's not the
Yeah.
hero.
I honestly, I think all the characters.
There
in
are
this
no
have-
heroes. They're all flawed.
they're all irredeemable qualities. Like,
Yeah.
But do any of them deserve to be turned to a walrus? Okay.
I mean,
I don't know.
I don't think anyone
I have a really bad
deserves to be
temper, so I
turned
don't
to a
think-
walrus.
You've got a bad temper?
I would send everybody to the walrus too.
All right, let's not make Laura mad.
I think our hero is Guy Lapointe.
Yes, he is. Yeah. He wakes up the next morning. He's in a wheelchair now. He's in this weird room. And Howard Howe tells him,
I love that scene, by the way, when he's the stuff about his name when he first walks in.
oh, yes, yeah.
He's like Mr. Howard. He's like how, and he's like, oh, just Howard. And he's just like, well, now that this unpleasantness is here.
Yeah. Essentially, this scene here is part of my problem with the movie in a whole. So he wakes up and he's been told that he's been bitten by a brown recluse spider. Takes off his little FDR polio blanket, and he sees that he's missing his right leg, right? And he freaks out, as we all would.
Yeah, sure.
Why didn't you bring me to a hospital? The doctor came here on a house call, but he's doing his rounds. It's all very weird.
The string of excuses
It's
is
almost-
just so bizarre. Like,
It is bizarre, and I'm glad he's doing it, but it's almost like, why lie at that point? Just tell him you're
That's
fucked.
exactly what
Yeah.
I was going to say. It's unnecessary.
Right.
Why is this necessary? And I remember the first time I watched it thinking to myself, I don't understand why this is necessary. Why is he even trying to... Because he has an end game here.
Right.
Clearly. In the end game, these lies
Right.
don't matter to the end game. I think it's because he enjoys
Oh yeah,
game.
it's entertaining to him. This is what he does.
You can see him laughing as he's trying to hold back his laugh as he's wheeling away.
As he's
Which is also adorable because Michael Parks like trying to hold back his laughter and just looking giddy is just so cute.
Yeah, so it's a game to him. This is part of the game. He's getting enjoyment out of this. Like, it's not all about making a walrus friend for him. And Guy Lapointe has said that this is a serial killer. And, there's enough, if you look at the walrus
Oh,
costume,
God.
there's enough faces on it to
Oh,
know
yeah.
that he's killed plenty of fucking people.
yep.
He's including the hockey player, whatever.
Gregory Gumtree.
So I think it's all part of and he's going to keep up the game as long as he can because it's amusing to him.
Yeah, one of my favorite parts in that scene where Justin Long wakes up and they have the conversation is that he's sitting down by a table and he's filing a tusk, which you later find out is
Yeah, it's
his
his
bone from
tibia.
his leg. It's his tibia bone that he's going to use to make him. Yeah, it's so gross.
Oh,
But
imagine
yeah.
the noise that makes.
He is playing a game. He's absolutely playing a game.
Yeah.
Lloyd, what do we find out about why does he want to have a fucking walrus friend? Like, what is the reasoning behind all this?
Because
we've-
why not?
Because when he was at sea, there was an unfortunate accident and he was stranded, and I guess he was saved by a walrus.
Mr. Tusk.
Mr. Tusk. He called him Mr. Tusk, and, there was a beautiful relationship there
On Ponder Rock.
on Ponder Rock. That's correct.
It was Ponder
It
Rock.
was. Yeah.
And eventually, you start getting hungry, and there's a big fat walrus right there. So he had to eat Mr. Tusk.
And it's a mist type ending because as soon as he eats Mr. Tusk, he gets rescued.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's one of those.
He's got a mouthful of fucking walrus. And Thomas Jane just finished off the fucking last round in his kid's head.
Yep.
You've seen The Mist?
Yes.
Okay, all right. Spoiler alert. And, then the army rolls through. This is the same thing. It's a little bit lighter. It's not a kid. It's a walrus. But he's got a mouthful of blubber. And a fucking boat pulls up and is like, wah, wah, let's go.
Imagine the consistency of that though.
Yeah.
Like, just like pure
Can't be tasty.
animal fat. It's not even the taste. It's just like
Yeah.
It's probably gritty.
the gelatinous.
Maybe a little gritty and
Not
gristly.
cooked.
And
I feel like it would be like eating flavorless gelatin that was not
I bet you it's pretty good.
frozen, hardened all the way. But
I get what you're saying.
They can make some walrus
set.
pudding.
yeah,
Just put in little cups,
I got to admit, this grosses
I'd eat
grosses
that.
my wife out, but I get this from my dad. Not that I eat a lot,
Walrus
but
pudding.
like steak and like pork chop fat, I absolutely fucking love it. I will eat it. I have no problem with it, but that's like cooked and attached to meat, like just straight up walrus fat.
yeah, you're not just eating that off of the animal.
Yeah. If it was like a piece of walrus meat with some fat on it and you roast it over the fire, I might be into it. But yeah, no, he's just full.
So you could have finished the old 96er.
You know what? When he says that part where he's like, there's nothing left but gristle and fat, and he's like, you know what? I might have been okay with that.
Yeah.
I might have been okay with that. He essentially tells him that as Lloyd said, he kills his friend. And Laura, what does he want to do now with Wallace? He wants what?
He wants to turn him into a walrus.
I just wanted to hear someone say that fucking sentence out loud.
Yeah.
Because this movie, really, when it comes down to it,
Yeah, that was my bumper sticker. Wacky old guy turns another guy into a walrus.
100%. 100%. We're going to rate this at the end, and no matter what we say, you got to give it an A for originality.
Oh, yeah.
You know, yes, The Force Awakens was essentially A New Hope over again. We're going to see movies be movies over and over again. I don't know of a lot of movies about a dude trying to make a dude into a walrus. Like,
No.
none.
As far as I know,
None.
this might be the only one.
If someone tells me there was one in, like, Cambodia, like, 20 years ago, then I'm going to be like, fuck, that wasn't original. I think it's original.
I'd like to watch that as a double feature, though.
There you go. Hey, we'll talk to this guy about it.
If there's a Cambodian walrus suit movie, I think you should put that on.
I've seen a guy turn people into a centipede.
Yes. Yeah.
Several of those
Several
things.
times. 3 times. So we end up, this is the point in the movie that I think I have my problem with.
Okay.
How long is this movie? An hour and a half? Hour and 38
Yeah,
minutes?
Approximately.
Just
give or
barely
take,
over 140 at the
Here's
moment.
my problem with it. I think this movie could have been longer. I want more of the Wallace and Howard stuff
Good.
because it starts great. The tea scene, the scene in the wheelchair, and then next thing you know, Justin Long is in the Wallace
He's in the suit, yeah.
not vocalizing anymore, and the focus of the movie switches over to the friends trying to find him in Canada.
Yeah.
Now there are strong parts in that. I do think that when we meet Guy Lapointe, it's very interesting, but it's a tonal shift. And I would have liked 20 more minutes of Howard Howe. Fuck.
What's wrong with you?
Howard Howe.
Double H.
There it is.
How?
Yeah.
It's a word. It's not even like I can't.
Quick,
it's a fucking
quick,
word.
say death proof.
Death proof.
All right.
All right.
Are you trying to say yeehaw?
I don't know what I'm trying to say. Yeehaw. I would have liked 20 more minutes of that.
Yeah.
Let me go around the table. Lloyd, would you have liked more of the psychological stuff between the two of them?
Yeah, because that is the most disturbing part of the movie. So yeah, I need more of that. I definitely wanted more of that. You know, when Howard comes in and he makes him do these things, and he's got this bizarre little laugh that he does. He does it a few times in the movie, and he talks like he's very disturbed. And I wish we had a little more of that, and it didn't just get right to the friends coming in.
Larry, what about you?
It's 2 movies.
Yeah.
That is how I've always felt about it. All the other shit, and then the stuff between Justin Long and Howard Howe, or whatever you said his name was.
How?
Howard Howe.
So I have no confidence in this anymore.
Yeah. And that's the meat of the movie. That's the blubber, if you will. And that's what I want, because Kevin Smith has always been great with one thing, and that's dialogue between 2 people. Mm-hmm. Like, you watch the great Kevin Smith moments, and it's Randall and Dante talking about fucking Empire Strikes Back. Mm-hmm. You know, it's fucking Brody and whatever shithead's name was.
Yes, Quint.
Yeah.
The shark.
The shark Quint, of course. How the fuck would I ever forget that? All Kevin Smith's best scenes are stuff between 2 people. Justin Long, who's no slouch of an actor, he's a good actor, and he's playing the role well with who, in my opinion, is one of the greatest actors, character actors anyway, of our time. Delivering when people say chewing up the scenery, and it's become like a fucking cliche term, but that's what he does, man. He can take a line.
The whole itsy bitsy spider.
Even that little thing.
Yeah.
Everything he says, I am so fucking engrossed by. Which is what I love about Justin Long's performance, because when he's telling these stories, you can see he's engrossed.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted more of that. I wanted more pre-knockout. I wanted to hear more of the stories about fucking Hemingway, which I wonder if were made up anyway. Because later on, he goes on about how he was abused as a kid and this and this, what led to him becoming how he is.
A Duplessis
Duplessis
orphan.
And the lies he's telling him about the brown recluse and shit. I'm like, is this all a lie? Is this whole fucking backstory a lie?
Yeah, well, because just real quick, when you go to later in the movie, when Guy Lapointe meets him at the cabin,
you want to talk about that
It's a total different lifestyle. He's living in Wayne Manor when we meet him. And then when he's there, he's in this like backwoods, he's in flannel.
Yep.
He's not like, with a cravat on and everything. So
and he's pretending to be this dimwit.
Yeah.
Total dimwit.
Like he's speaking with a hair lip accent, like he has a hair lip.
Basically, yeah.
That was another thing they pointed out in the commentary. Kevin Smith was going to have them both have a French Canadian accent, but it was Michael Park's idea to have him have a hair lip.
So that's what it was.
because
Okay.
He's like, Johnny Depp, Guy Lapointe's not going to want to stick around and talk to this guy with a hair lip because it's hard to understand him. It's awkward. It's weird. He keeps asking him to come kill this spider. So, like, Kevin Smith and, like, Michael Parks was like, he's going to want to get away from this guy as quickly as possible. And
that scene is just so incredible to watch him, because now you've gotten, I don't know, 40 minutes of him as this one character. And then you get this fucking complete shift to this fucking, will you come in and kill the spider for me? And you're like, what the fuck? And this guy with his stories about spiders and these fucking fake accents, how much of this is made up? I wanted to know more about Howard. And
20 more minutes of movie.
Take away, I'm sorry, take away the Guy Lapointe for me. I don't need him. Other than that scene, you can plug anybody in that. And Johnny Depp's great. I'm not a Johnny Depp.
Let me agree with you. I like him in this. If you told me you could take all the Guy Lapointe stuff out, right, and add Howard...
Do it. You got it.
Howard
Howe.
stuff, what?
Just call him Double H.
Double H. If you could just add Double H stuff in and Justin Long stuff in, I would be fine with that. And I think it would be a better movie.
I want more of that movie. That's the horror of the movie, is that house, that man, and that relationship.
You said this is a story of two movies. It's a story of one movie that's like a stronger first half.
Yeah.
And then like it just kind of falls flat in the second half.
Right.
Once he gets him in that walrus suit, and there's still some psychological torture. I mean, he's in a walrus suit now.
He's in a walrus suit.
He's cut his tongue out. He can't talk. I think the most, like, a lot of it, I didn't personally think I apologize if it's the Dave School, but the walrus suit.
Oh, whoa, that's not the Dave School. That's Robert Kurtzman.
Really?
KNB Effects. That thing is gorgeous. Are you kidding me?
Yeah,
I'm not digging that.
Oh, that's great.
I like the idea of it. I like
It looks so realistic.
Yeah.
For what somebody could actually make out of human skins, it looks real.
Kevin Smith begged Nicotero to do it, but Nicotero was tied up with The Walking Dead. So he's like, Kurtzman will do it for you. And
apparently he did it super cheap too, just because he was really excited to make a walrus suit.
How often do you get to make a walrus suit for somebody?
Right?
Maybe it's just the concept of what it's supposed to be. I like the idea that there's the faces on it and that you see like, bits of hand and stuff.
Yep.
I actually I think one of the most terrifying scenes in the whole movie is when he's teaching him to swim and he goes under and he sees that other one.
Oh yeah.
And you could kind of see like the fucking bolt and everything through the skull and where the tibia has been placed. But I just felt like all of that stuff, because Justin Long can't emote back other than like I just felt like it lost a lot, of that. And we did. I think partially because of the stunt casting too with Johnny Depp is that we then focus so hard on that. Like it does. The movie goes to him and them for like a good 15 minutes between the
it's
diner
a good
scene
long time.
and then the scene where the diner scene and then the scene where they go back to the A to Z. It becomes about them. Now, I do like Johnny Depp in this. I like when he's telling the story. I like the little weird things he does, like the Gimli sliders.
Yeah.
There was a plane accident in Canada in the early 80s, and the plane, the wheels wouldn't come down, and the pilot fucking like slid it and saved everybody. It's called the Gimli glider.
So they call them,
and that's a joke on
Gimli
that.
sliders.
But that's also something else they talked about on the podcast. Like, everything in this movie comes from the podcast. It's sprinkled with Easter eggs. I don't know all of them, but that's definitely one of them.
Did they talk about the one where when he gets the hamburgers, why he crushes them?
I don't know.
When he gets the hamburgers, he crushes them with his hand.
Yep.
And apparently, because they're in Manitoba, he's from Quebec, and in Quebec, there's a famous fast food chain. I don't remember the name of it, but they crush their burgers are very thin and very like super thin and crushed and served on a popsicle stick. What? So he's crushing them.
What the Canadian bullshit is that?
Yeah, but he's crushing them because that's how he likes his burgers.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I don't know. I like a lot of that stuff. By the way, the Gimli glider thing I thought was just. I'm like, that's so funny that they just call it the Gimli slider.
That's funny.
Funny.
And apparently Canada had their own, they had like the proto-Sully. Like they had their own like guy who was
The Gimli.
the Gimli.
So what did you think about the reveal that he wasn't really in a wheelchair, that he was
Not a surprise.
No, it wasn't a surprise to you? I remember
Well,
the
that
first
whole
time,
scene was fantastic because they're at opposite ends of the table. and they're going back and forth, and
Yeah.
and he
just
gets
up.
enraged.
He
Yeah,
just stands up, walks over, and smacks him in the face, and I'm
Right.
like, hold the fuck on a second.
Yeah.
This guy was motoring a wheelchair around before.
But the thing about that is that I'm not everybody that I know that's ever been in a wheelchair can't stand up or move their legs, but he kept crossing his legs. I'm not. That could completely
missed
be
it.
something that
yeah. I don't remember
people
seeing
with
that.
certain ailments and wheelchairs are
Yeah,
able to do.
I didn't even
but
notice
when
that.
he first
Yeah.
meets him, when Wallace first gets to the house, Michael Parks just crisscrosses his legs back and forth in the
Probably-
wheelchair.
Oh,
Probably
And I-
they're clues, but we didn't pick them up.
Probably
Yeah.
Park's own fucking choices,
Yeah.
I would assume.
Yeah.
I would assume. I don't know. I loved it. I love everything.
I was not surprised by that.
More Parks. I definitely wanted more Parks.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Put as much of him in there as you can.
So what you said, yeah, absolutely. More Parks and,
Totally.
and Long
Totally.
would have made this movie more successful. I wanted to see more building. There's got to take longer to build
I
a
want
walrus.
to see more surgery.
Yeah,
That's what I want to see more of the process to that. Like I want to see like the fusing of the arms.
I was
And-
super
and
glad.
I did like the
insertion
walrus
of the
map,
tusks.
all that stuff you
Yeah.
kept seeing in the background.
schematics.
Also,
Yeah.
why does he know how to do that?
because there was fucking schematics.
Yeah.
He
Right.
Googled it.
I'd like to know who came up with the schematics for building a walrus.
Yeah.
I would have to assume that he did. I don't know,
Maybe
but
that
yeah,
was
I wanted to see
Hemingway.
because I also wanted to hear more stories, whether they're bullshit or not. I'm intrigued every time that man talks.
I think that's the biggest failure of this movie is that
Yeah.
it doesn't follow through with what it starts out to be. It starts out to be a story of a guy who is terrorized by another guy and is going to be turned to a walrus. Now, we expect him to get turned to a walrus. I knew he was going to become a walrus in this movie. That's fine. I didn't think it was going to be 15 minutes after he meets him. Right. And now, granted, there's time, like a day passes or whatever, but we don't see any of that day. We move back to find out that Teddy is boning the girlfriend. I don't care. You could have explained that to me in the next scene.
Yeah.
The next scene when they're going to find him,
Right.
it could have been this. It could have been, when we find him, when this is done, we're not doing this anymore.
But how was that necessary to the movie at all? That Teddy was banging his girlfriend.
I think it's solely to show what a shitbag Wallace is.
I don't think you needed that to show what a shit.
I think they really wanted to hammer it
Yeah,
home.
it just reinforces it.
It reinforces
Yeah.
like that. He's a bad dude, right?
I mean, but as bad as
But now
he
you
is,
made her
now,
a bad person.
Yeah, now you made
You
both
made
of
them
them
all.
a bad person because they're the ones that are.
Yeah.
She was the
he's,
good person
He's
before.
an asshole and he's cheating on her, but they're also now assholes who are cheating.
If they
as well.
wanted to show like some flirtation that they both backed off from or something,
Okay.
I'm okay.
Yeah,
with
there could
that.
have been a weird moment, maybe like they kissed
Where they
and they pulled
almost or
away or
something.
something. Yeah, they didn't have to have a full
Yeah.
on affair.
So can we all
You
agree
just made
one way or
everyone an
another?
asshole, basically.
Let's all agree one way or the other. This movie could have been longer.
Yeah.
Yes.
Could have
Right.
been longer. Could have done without some.
Some things moved around. Some things
Right.
toned that down. Gila Point could have stayed, but it could have been a little bit different.
Right.
Get rid of the relationship.
More of this,
between-
less of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Did you catch your the Jaws piece there?
Jaws.
When-
When he says
25 feet.
25 feet.
3 tons of them.
Yes.
I was like,
Yes, he does say that when he's talking about because he went in the water and
Yeah.
he says something about the sharks, and I'm like, that's Quinn's fucking line.
Yeah.
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 25. 3 tons of them.
As we said, the story where he goes and meets, he's like, I like that the whole detective of like, I had this guy.
Yeah.
I fucking
Yep,
had
yep,
this guy
yep.
2 years ago, and that again, Gregory Gumtree, the name said 600 times, was in the house, and I didn't fucking pick up on it because he's so fucking good that he fooled me, right? And they make it clear that Gila Point, I don't remember what it was called, like Suerte de Quebec or whatever. He's like the fucking head inspector in Quebec.
Yeah.
And this guy fucking fooled him by using a fucking like a fake like simpleton accent kind
Yeah.
of thing.
Just
didn't
by
he-
an accent.
Did he say he got fired or something?
He said he was
he
fired
did.
because he became obsessed with him.
Right, kind of obsessed with this case.
And he's dubbed him the what did he dub him?
There is a name.
The first wife.
The first one.
Oh yeah.
First wife.
Yeah.
And he got the name the first wife because they do mention like has any of these bodies that we're finding, have they been sexually assaulted? It's like no. He will cut your tongue out and not let you talk. He'll beat you, but he won't fuck you.
Yeah.
And that's the first wife. And I do like the bit where he says that, and Teddy and the girlfriend
just
don't
like,
get it. And he's
yeah.
like, you had to have been married a couple of times. So they find him, they get there, and it's a little bit too late. And what is the end game, Lloyd? What is the final thing that Howe, I fucking did it. What did Howe want to do with Wallace the Walrus.
Yeah, because we've been saying all night that his goal was to change him into a walrus.
Right.
But that really wasn't his goal.
No.
So Hao has his own walrus pelt himself that he gets into, and he wants to battle it out with Justin Long's
Mr.
walrus.
Tusk.
Yeah, Mr. Tusk.
Yeah.
And he feels like Mr. Tusk needs his vengeance, I guess you could say. You hear the music for the Fleetwood Mac Tusk, you hear the drums, and you're like, oh my God, it's going down.
Oh yeah.
Most of the budget went to that song.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
fucking amazing song.
It's so good.
You're gonna
It's
have
And
to
they
pay for
needed
good.
to put it in there.
Of course
like,
they
you
did.
couldn't not have that
What
song. in
other
the movie.
song could you have possibly?
Yeah.
The real quick,
Hooga,
I am,
hooga.
I am a walrus. I am a walrus.
Yeah.
Why couldn't they got that?
Yeah.
the original
I don't think
title,
you get a Beatles song.
the original title of the screenplay was The Walrus and the Carpenter.
Yep.
And Kevin Smith said it has to be named Tusk because what else do you name
What
a
else
movie
would you
about
name a walrus
Yeah.
movie?
Yeah. It makes sense.
Blubber.
Yeah.
But Tusk is so much better.
So they're going to battle it out. He's going to give Mr. Tusk his chance to exact his revenge upon him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's when you realize that the ones, or was there more than one corpse Tusk?
There was at least one down there, probably more.
I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure
Yeah.
there were multiple.
You realize
down
that's
there,
what
yeah.
happened. Those ones lost the battle.
They lost the battle.
They lost the battle.
Wallace the Walrus does not lose the battle.
They actually fight like walruses.
I
do.
know.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Come on.
They jump up
great.
with
If
their
you
front.
listening have never seen walrus fight, just YouTube what walruses do when they fight, and then watch this scene, and you're like, "Holy shit!" They're actually fight. But walruses basically just bump into each other.
I know.
Yeah, and like throw their teeth at each
But
other.
yeah,
Yeah.
what else could they
Nothing.
possibly
They have
do?
no
though?
fucking arms. Some little weird flippers at you. There's
They can roll over on each other, I guess.
like roll over. But is that gonna?
But
They're
no.
all huge.
No,
so.
you just got to get your
Very, very bizarre.
elevation and then come
I'm
down with
feeling
that tusk.
John did not like Battle Walrus. Oh, speaking of, I forgot to bring Battle Royal for you.
Oh.
Yeah, I was going to bring it over. Shit.
Yeah,
I
battle.
was wondering what you were going to be speaking of.
That reminds me.
Speaking of that, John, we have to move our walrus battle to next Tuesday. I am busy this Tuesday.
I left my walrus fleece. What did you call it?
Pelt.
Pelt.
I left my walrus
Walrus
pelt at
pelts.
home.
Yeah, I don't know. I'll admit I'm on the outs on this one. I didn't love the look of the walrus pelt. I get it. Like every time he moved his head back in, it just looked
Yeah, it's
weird.
it was so real. It was so realistic.
just
yeah.
didn't work for me. But
Yeah,
and
his
then,
head at one point actually disappears, sort of, and
Yeah.
he pops it back
Yeah.
out, and you see the skin folding.
and then the weird thing where like Parks is wearing his, but he's standing up at one point, and it's
Because he stands up because he's done. Like
I-
they've had their fight, and then Parks is like, all right, now it's time to get fucking serious.
I think that Michael Parks is more of a suit that he can take off, and Justin Long's is a suit
Oh, yeah,
that's
he's
more
sewn
merged with
right
his
into it.
body.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like he can't get out of it.
yeah. So they have this fight, and in the end, Wallace kills him. Right? He beats the shit out of him, and then like tusks him in the heart. And the friends show up just at that moment.
Yeah.
And it's just this fucking awful moment. Like Guy Lapointe.
But is it an awful moment? Because
Look, this is what I want to get to with this fucking movie.
go ahead.
All right, this is where I want to go with this movie. Right?
Yeah.
I'm going to go to each one of you, and I want the goddamn truth.
Yeah.
All right? I want you to put your loved one or someone that you care about a lot in that fucking suit.
Okay. My sister.
Let's start with you, Laura. I'm going to start with you, Laura, because you went right to a person.
Yeah.
Your sister.
Yes.
All right?
She's gonna be so mad at me.
Hello, Laura's sister. You walk in that room. Your sister's sewn into a fucking walrus pelt, right? Tongue cut out. There ain't no coming back from this. You can't, if you cut her out, you saw, right?
Yeah.
You let her live or you kill her.
Oh, I know for a fact she would not want to live like that. She would want me to shoot her in the head right away.
Right, but even if she's not saying nothing, do you let her live or do you kill her?
Oh, I kill. Yes.
All right. Lloyd, don't have to put a kid in there. Don't have to put someone in there. I don't want you to make it too personal. You could put me in, put a friend in. Do you let them live or do you kill them?
There's no way. It's too disturbing of me to think that somebody could change you to a walrus, and then you have to live like that. There's no way I wouldn't kill you.
Right. Larry.
Now, can I put an enemy?
No, I want you to put someone that you care about.
Because I'd leave them in the fucking.
I know. I know.
I like that opposite. Yeah, I have some people I could put in a walrus.
I would
suit.
bring them to like Connecticut Call Classics nights and like let them hop around the stage.
Take
You
pictures
can
of them.
charge
like a
us
little
to like
pool.
pet them and
Yes.
stuff.
That'd be
fun.
fantastic.
Yeah, I would put like a little like like a kiddie pool.
Yeah.
And like let them splash around in it.
Oh, that sounds actually really
And then when they
sweet.
moan, you would mock them.
If you bring
Yeah, everybody in the
yeah.
audience just
you bring a
mocks them.
fish for it, you get him for free,
Yeah. Mackerels.
right? Like a treat.
We got to grade this on mackerels.
A treat, as they call it. Should give him his treat. Remember, Joel Osment at the end.
Yeah.
Give him his treat.
Yeah.
Like, just call it a fish, man. Just call it a raw fish.
Kill him or not.
Yeah. Yeah. You got nobody would wanna.
This is where I have a problem with this movie. Like,
They
all
don't-
stop.
They don't like him. They've proven they don't. She still loves him.
She loves him, but no matter what he's done. Two questions. First of all, two questions. You let him fucking live out life like that? And question number 2, and this is the one I vocalized to my wife when I watched it. She kind of, as every movie we talk about, she kind of half watches it and reads. But
Yeah.
she was kind of getting into this one. She's like, because honestly, it's like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah.
But anyways, at the end, I said, what fucked up nature preserve takes that motherfucking guy here? None. Know what they'd say? First of all, that's not a fucking animal.
not a walrus.
That's a fucking dude. Second of all, why didn't you kill him when you fucking found him?
Yeah.
I honestly thought the end of this movie, that last scene, I get it. That last scene could have been better if it was at the house. They go over, there's a tear, he has a tear, and then, much like The Fly,
Shotgun.
what is the Cronenberg Fly? He takes the gun and puts it to his own head.
Yeah.
Just fucking whatever, like, however he does it, kill me.
I don't think he has the dexterity with his
Anything.
hands to shoot himself in the head,
Flipper
especially
it.
with a shotgun.
Flipper it, Laura. Just
Like a crucified T-Rex.
do something. Just
But could he? Because there's two questions here.
okay.
There's two ways, and I had to write this down because I had to really, really think about it. So when Michael Parks is dying, I'm not going to even try to say his name in the movie because I've seen you.
Howard Ha.
I've seen how you've said it.
That wasn't a joke. I can't get it out.
When he's dying after the battle, after
Yeah.
the walrus fight, he says, "It's accomplished. You are my Mr. Tusk." So has he become a walrus? Because that's what he said the whole time. He wants him to actually become a walrus.
Oh, yeah.
Does
Right, his
Justin Long,
spirit
has he forgotten who he is, and is he now a walrus? And if he is, why not let him live his life out as a walrus if that's what he wants?
Got a problem
But
with
there's a flip side to this coin. There's the part she's telling when his girlfriend's telling him that she doesn't like the new fucking whatever, and why don't you cry sometimes? And he's like, I don't cry. I'm not a baby. Babies cry. And she says to him, it's good to cry. It separates us from the animals.
Right.
It shows that you have a soul. Later on, Howard yells at him that walruses never cry. Right? But what's the last thing he does?
He cries.
He cries.
Yeah.
So now, the flip side, maybe he's not a walrus because he's crying.
Oh, he knows who they are.
Oh, yeah.
Also, at the same time, he's eating the fish.
He is eating.
They know he's a human.
Going to town on that fish.
Yeah, so why is he eating the fish? They could be giving him
A burger.
normal human food.
One of them sliders.
Yeah,
right.
Like
A
his
Ghibli
friends
slider.
brought him a fish.
Yeah.
Not.
You know
a
what?
burger
Here's
and
the
fries.
thing.
Yeah.
You know, you could take this guy to a hospital and they could do some surgery, get that fucking
don't know.
pelt off of him, unsew,
No
cut
tongue,
his things.
no legs.
Yeah. Well,
he
they
is-
could give him legs and they could fix his arms. I don't know about the tongue though. I don't know what they can do with
Again, I
tongue
think if this
transplants.
movie was a little longer and we saw more of the shit he did to him, that would solidify that thought. Is like he's too far gone.
Yeah.
But literally within a day and a half, he's a walrus.
He's not.
Yeah.
That's the thing, and that's what you hit it on the head. They didn't really show is. I don't take him as somebody in a walrus suit now. He's a fucking walrus. He doesn't have arms and legs. Like, this is all parts of his body and other people's body that is now him. Like, the only thing that's still him is his fucking face.
Right.
The rest of it is just a walrus. There's no fixing
This is the
that.
weirdest conversation we've ever had. This is like, this movie has at least provided the weirdest conversation because we're seriously talking about like a man turned to a walrus.
Yeah.
So I got to give that a lot of credit. Lloyd, before we rate this thing and roll for our next scary.
You know, we
Larry's-
didn't talk about any of the great quotes in this movie.
Well,
too.
give us some quotes.
You want to get some
yeah.
quotes?
Yeah.
All right.
So many.
Some early ones. This is actually more funny when he goes to the border patrol. The guy
that's
goes,
good.
"Well, you got your can of do's and your can of don'ts."
Yeah.
Yeah. First of all, you never tell a Canadian you don't like hockey.
Right.
Yeah, I like the thing he says about the red, white, and blue, and
Oh,
we're just
yeah.
the red and white. We don't have.
Yeah,
the blue.
we don't have the blue. Look
Yeah.
at that flag.
America, USA invented the blue.
And America invented sadness.
My favorite from that scene is you don't say Hitler in an airport.
Oh, right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then you got, when he's at the table, when he gets up and smacks him and he says to him, your life as you knew it is over, Mr. Brighton. So if you wish at all to continue living, you will finish your day or you'll be a walrus or nothing at all.
Yeah, that was actually pretty.
That's fucking
That was actually that
pretty
scene,
powerful.
That was super powerful because
Yeah.
like I thought of myself in that situation where someone like has you trapped and is telling you that's
Yeah.
frightening as shit.
Yeah, there's
Yep,
no way out.
exactly. There's no
way
There are
out.
only two options.
You have
and
you
both of
have
them are
no
awful.
choice.
The term, like people say it all the time, like in very strange, like like, oh fuck, I got fired and my life's never gonna be the same. But to hear it from someone like your life as
Yeah,
you know it
that's
is
it.
over.
Yeah.
That's fucking fucked.
That is
That
fucked.
line was fucking
That line hit me
bone-chilling.
hard when I heard that.
It hit me
Like,
hard
oh,
too. I
jeez.
was like, holy fuck. Like that's because that's the point where he lets him know that is the exact point where like the little games and stuff end.
And
Yeah.
That
exactly.
like
when he
we-
got up to slap him, that's when it's like, okay,
That's it.
Yeah.
game's over.
Yeah.
And then another one that is really good quote. In all of my travels, I've only ever known a human to be an ocean of shit.
Yes. I enjoyed that one.
I'd put that on a t-shirt.
Right?
Yeah.
All right, Lloyd, what about the box office on Tusk? What do we have?
So we have a massive failure. A budget of $3 million
Yeah.
and a box office of $1.9 million worldwide.
Laura, did you see this in the theaters?
Yes, I very much did. I'm glad to be one of those
You're
very
part of
few
that
people.
1.9.
You and Larry have contributed. Now you contributed to a failing movie, but you contributed on behalf of Kevin Smith. I say thank you.
Thank you very much.
I also bought the DVD, so
But did you get the Blu-ray yet?
no.
All right. Remember, you have to just keep.
Is it
going.
on Blu-ray? I'm not even sure it's
Did
on.
you get the video game? Do you have the?
If there's a video game where I can do walrus fights, I'm going to get that video game.
All
I
right.
have it
totally
on my
want a
phone.
walrus fight video game.
Fair enough. Let's rate this thing. All right. Pina Comics rules apply here on Scary Larry's Pina Horrors. Larry, what are we rating this on?
I'll stick with what Lloyd said.
Mackerel?
Mackerels?
All right.
Mackerel.
Remember,
Anything out of 5 mackerels.
that's right. Zero to 5, half and quarter scale are optional. So feel free. We don't do ladies first here, so not
No,
Laura.
we're gonna.
Okay.
No. Nope. We're not going to
No,
do that.
she's going last because
She's going last.
I want to see her score.
Exactly. I
just
think
fuck
she's.
me, right?
I think she's going to a 5. So
Yeah.
Really?
let's start. I want to start with Larry because it's fucking Scary Larry's show.
Yeah.
So on a scale of 0 to 5 mackerels, Larry, what do you give 2014's Kevin Smith written and directed Tusk?
Well, it's like I said, to me, this is the story of 2 movies. The story of everything going on in Walrus's life that's not taking place in Nippy Pines or whatever. What's the fucking name of this house?
Whip,
Hill.
Pippi Longstocking, Pippi Hill.
Hippie Hill.
Nippy Pines. I'd like to visit Nippy
Whatever.
Pines, to be honest with you. It sounds like a pretty good
And
place.
have some walrus pudding at Nippy Pines.
Yes, absolutely. And really, if I had to rate it like that, it's a 5 for what's going on inside of Nipsey Hill.
Can I be honest with you? I don't know why, but when you just said that, you completely sounded like Christopher Walken to me. If I had to,
It's a 5.
It's a 5.
It's a 5.
If I had to do it, John, I'm gonna go straight 5 every time.
That would have been a great cameo to have in
That
this
would
movie
have.
too,
Right?
He might have been in it. He might have been in the H bar in the background.
He might be one of the dead walruses at the
He
bottom
was the guy at the bottom of the
pond,
ocean,
yeah.
or the bottom of the pool.
I really liked the search to find out whether man is indeed a walrus at heart.
Okay.
Right.
I feel like we didn't, because like I said, like I pointed out, I feel like we didn't get the answer because I don't know if he is a walrus. I feel, in one way, I feel he has become Mr. Tusk and he has become a walrus.
That tear
but
tells you he's not, man.
that tear, kind
But in
of
the
There's just some
moment,
memories
he was
that are
Mr.
left
Tusk.
over residual human.
kind of like a
feelings,
zombie, like a
maybe.
zombie might have
Yeah.
some sort of
Like
sense
Bob.
memory.
Bob
I
was
don't know.
kind of
I wish
that.
I knew, but that's the point of movies, right? Movies kind of let you figure out what you think it is. As a whole, this movie does suffer from all the other stuff that goes on. I do generally really enjoy Johnny Depp. I just thought a lot of his stuff was pointless in this. On the mackerel scale, as an overall film, because that's how it has to be rated,
Finalized film that we saw.
final film, not just whatever went on inside of Shady Brook Pines or whatever.
Hippie Hill.
Sure. Inside of that place.
Howard Howe.
Howard Howe. Death Proof.
I'm going to say 3.75 macros. I do enjoy. I do really enjoy.
3.75, I can tell.
It's a high score because of Michael Parks and Justin Long and those scenes inside that house. I just wish there were more.
Okay. Master, you want to go?
Yeah, I'll go now. It's a thin story, but it's unpredictable. It's bizarre. It's absurd. But it's got some great moments, especially some great acting, with Michael Parks and Justin Long. It's very creepy, especially when he mocks him and does his wailing and he does his weird hair lip accent. But it keeps you engaged. And I'm just a little bit lower than Larry, 3.5.
Wow. That's
Good.
All right.
I like that, Lloyd.
All right, we'll go to Laura last again. I'll go next. Real quick, we didn't mention this. I don't know if you guys read this or not, but Johnny Depp was not the first person offered.
You know who it was?
The first person offered was Quentin Tarantino.
Quentin Tarantino.
Oh, I
And
didn't realize that.
he said he wasn't focusing on acting. But then the second thing I read was he misunderstood Kevin Smith and thought he was offering him the lead role of Wallace. So he might have done.
No. I thought he was offering him Michael Parks' role.
Oh, I thought he was offering him Wallace's role.
I could be wrong.
Yeah,
I could be wrong.
Well, in either case, he was offering him. He thought he was offering him one of the leads,
something
when in
else.
fact it was just going to be Guy Lapointe.
Either way, I'm happy without Tarantino in it.
Yeah, no, it's fine.
Yeah.
we got Johnny
Whichever
Depp.
role it is was played better by someone.
Right. Right.
So I'm gonna make it real simple because you guys said a lot that I agree with. I think this movie has an incredibly unique concept. The idea that it came from a podcast, that it was basically kind of made in this short period of time, voted on by Twitter. It's a very different way to make a movie. Again, I watched Mallrats last night, Kevin Smith's second movie from 1995. It is completely different. You see a lot of growth. I love Mallrats, by the way, but it's a different thing. You watch Mallrats, you're thinking this guy is never going to do anything more than this. And he kind of have worked his way up to something like Red State and like Tusk. But this movie fails at the half. Right? The first half of this movie has a lot of potential, and we just don't get any more of the fucking Michael Parks, Justin Long stuff. And I wanted more Justin Long. We get more Michael Parks, but it's not as interesting when he's not playing off of someone that can talk back to him. And secondly, Justin Long is just fucking muted in the second half of this movie.
That's right.
And, Haley Joel Osment and Genesis Rodriguez are good, but they're not as strong as he was. I'm going way lower than you guys. I'm going to give this like a straight down the middle of 2.5. Like, I enjoyed this. I wanted more from this. And I had heard, like, this is a movie we could have done Trash, Tolerable, or Treasure episode on as well, because I've heard so many people say they hate this movie, but then I've also heard a lot of people say it's great.
Yeah, it's very divisive.
It's very
movie.
divisive.
Oh, yeah,
the people that
definitely.
like this movie are like pretty much like Larry and Laura. And the people that hate it are, like Sir John, our old co-host. He hates a lot, but he really hated this movie. And he's not the only one. I've met other people, like I've mentioned Tusk. When I put up that we were doing Tusk, I got some messages like, ugh, and I got some ones that were like fucking awesome,
Yeah.
So sometimes you put other movies up there and people are like, oh, cool, whatever, blah, blah, blah. They're not divisive.
Yeah.
This is a divisive
I'd rather
movie.
have divisive than whatever.
Absolutely. I'd rather have someone going one way or the other. Laura, 0 to 5, what are you giving it?
So I'm also
Mackerels.
going to
Very
do
important, mackerels.
3.75 mackerels, lower than what you.
I was kind of kidding.
I think it just shows through that Kevin Smith just really had a good time making this movie, and he just put a lot of himself into it. He just did whatever the fuck he wanted to do, and I think he did a great job. Yeah, there's a lot of failings of the movie, and it could be cleaned up in places, and yes, I want more Michael Parks, I want more weird walrus surgery, but yeah, I think it's a fun movie to watch, and I think everybody should like it and nobody should hate it.
I agree.
There you go.
I feel like
That's a good opinion.
I feel like she did you see the way she did that? She actually had like a movement. Like I think there was like some hypnotism there.
Yeah.
You want to
You want to revisit your score?
You guys all went. You guys all went, and I don't know why, but I kind of feel like Tusk from 2014 is a 5. I kind of hate myself for saying that, but I'm going to go with 5. All right, Larry, let's do the roll for the next episode. So we're going to roll the die.
You got a pen?
One at a time. Oh, I don't know. Right behind you, there's a little cup with the remote controls. There should be a pen there. We're going to roll the die, correspond to the 4 movies that you folks out there can vote on. go to Scary Larry's, we'll go to ConnecticutCultClassics.com and find Scary Larry's voting page, and then you can vote on which of the 4 movies you want for us to do for episode 4 of season 2 of Scary Larry's Pint o' Horrors. So he's got the list out. Let's start with Lloyd. Lloyd, why don't you roll your die?
Here we go.
He's got to get his glasses.
Yeah, I got to get my... I think I've already rolled this. It's, nope. It is a 16.
That's new.
16, okay. And again, the rules on this one are we're going a movie from every year from 2001 to 2020. Oh. So, Laura, go ahead and roll your die.
Okay. 12.
Awesome.
All right, I will roll mine. I rolled a 12. That would duplicate Laura's. 8. 8 is great. And Larry will roll his.
I will roll a 2.
All right.
All right, now Larry.
4 solid choices here.
Let's see what we got, Larry.
All right, nothing that we've rolled before, so we're in the clear. We'll start with Lloyd since he went first. Lloyd gets 2016's Don't Kill It, starring Dolph Lundgren.
Ooh, Dolph Lundgren.
How the fuck can you ever go
All
wrong?
right.
If he dies, he dies.
Laura rolled one of my favorite films. I think it was actually my favorite of 2012, Excision with Tracy Lords.
Oh.
It's not in the kind of roles she's
Yeah,
known for.
She hasn't done one of those roles in like 40 years at this point, yeah.
Correct. But it's a fucking great movie. John, you rolled another favorite, 2008 Splinter.
Oh, that was rolled before.
It was
and I
rolled
have seen that, and I like that one. Vote for that one, guys.
Yep. And I rolled one that has been rolled before as well, 2002's May.
Oh, I've seen May.
Okay. I've never seen any of those.
May's the doll?
Yeah.
Creepy as fuck.
With Anna Faris, isn't it?
Anna Faris, yeah. Okay, so those are the movies. When you hear this, go to ConnecticutCultClassics.com, Scary Larry's voting page, pick it. Wonderful. Larry, as always, without you, we can't do these shows. So
You could. You just have to call it something different.
we'd have to call it something different. Laura, thank you so much for coming along.
Thank you for having me.
And hypnotizing me into somehow giving that a 5. I'm gonna go back and go back to 2.5. Lloyd, get us out of this.
Check out our website at pinacomics.com. Subscribe on whatever podcatcher you like. Check out the YouTube channel. Subscribe there. On Facebook and Twitter, it's at Pint of Comics. And on Instagram, it's at pint_o_comics. Goo goo gajoob. See ya.
We are leaving!